Hi, super fifth graders. This is Mr. Town, and I'm looking forward to working with you this week and next week on fractions. So first, I'd like to share with you how you're going to access the app that we will use today. How do you get to it? So it's in your Google Classroom, and let me show you. This is your Google Classroom here. Click on the Classwork tab, and then notice in the week of 9/21 through 9/25, there's an assignment that's called fractions. Parts of a whole. You're going to click on that, and down here there are two links that I would like you to look at. One of the links is going to take you to the Geoboard app. When you get to the app, this is what the Geoboard looks like, the app. So this is a virtual Geoboard. For those who used it before, in real life, this has rubber bands on it, but in virtual life, we have these virtual rubber bands down along the bottom here. Also along the bottom here is what I call the tool ribbon. So this is the tool ribbon, and the tool ribbon will allow you to do things like if I click here, I can make the board bigger. If I click here, I can make it a round board. If I click here, I'll keep it for the larger board because that's what I'd like. If I click here, I'll add lines to the board. And if I click here, I'll add numbers to the outside edges of the board, the columns and the rows. Okay, so I'll show you the other tools as we go. So this is how I would like you to set up your Geoboard to begin with, the large rectangular board with the lines and numbers on it. So the first step is I'm going to establish the whole. That is, how big is one whole? So I'm going to start off by saying, okay, let's start off here. By the way, if you didn't notice that, let me show it to you again. You grab one of the rubber bands from down here, you two-finger tap it and drag it up to the top and drop it onto those pins. Then you stretch the rubber band over, and I'll stretch it all the way over to here. And then you can grab the rubber band up here and stretch it over to here and drop it on that pin. And that's how you make the rubber band fit over a rectangle like that. I'll just quickly count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've chosen to make one whole 8 squares. So 8 squares here will be equal to one whole. But I would like to label that. Down along the tool ribbon, there's an equation editor right here. It's the plus, minus, times, divide sign. There's also a text editor. It's the capital T, the uppercase T. So if I click on either one of those, then I can now add a message. And here's what my message will be. I'm going to say that that's equal to one whole. Every time that you have an assignment, by the way, I'll make it smaller by clicking there. I'll move it over here. Now it's blue, but I can change it yellow like that, and that makes it easier to see as far as I'm concerned. So every time that you're going to do an assignment like this, I would like you to first ask, what's the whole? How much is one whole? So in this case, I've shown you here, this much is one whole. By the way, along the tool ribbon, if you highlight that, I can click on this paint drop here, and it shades in the whole. So I can shade it or unshade it by tapping here. All right, so that's one whole. But I would also like you next to make a model of 1/2. And so to do that, I'm going to grab the red rubber band and I'm going to drop it on those pins. And then I'm going to drop or stretch the rubber band so that it fits like this. Now, if you'll notice, if I did that up and compared it to my white one, I'm going to now compare it to the white one. Notice that I could take 1 and 2 of these red rectangles to make up the white rectangle. If I shade those red ones, that red one is shaded now, and that red one is shaded. Notice that it takes 2 of those rectangles to make up 1 of the white rectangle. So it takes 2 red rectangles to make up one whole. So I'm going to use my text editor now to write the message here. Let's see. That is equal to 1/2. And because 2 equal pieces make a whole. And I'm going to make that smaller so that it'll fit better. And I guess that's as small as I can make it, but I'll make it yellow. And then I can stretch out the box like this. Stretch out the box a little. And let's see. I guess that's as small as I can make it. Stretch out my box a little. And so, yes. So this now, if you'll notice, this is equal to 1/2. And I can even make it go into 2 lines like this. Because 2 equal pieces make a whole. I'm going to go up here now, and I'm going to delete that red one and that red one. Now, notice that this is 1 whole, and this one now has a value of 1/2. And it's really important that you do several things. One is that you label it with a number. In this case, it's 1/2. And give me your reasoning. In this case, it's because 2 equal pieces make a whole. So I want both the number and the reasoning attached to the model. So here I have a red rectangle, and that's a model of 1/2. And here I labeled it as equal to 1/2. And here I said, because 2 equal pieces make a whole. And that's my reasoning. That's what I would like you to do. So I'm going to do the same thing now, but instead of having the red rectangle, I'm going to make a purple rectangle that looks like this. So if you notice, this purple rectangle takes up 2 squares. So how many of these purple rectangles could I fit up here? Well, let's try it. I'll put my rubber bands up there. And let's see, there's 1. And then let me put another one up there. And let's see, there's 2. And then let me put another one up there. And let me see, that's 3. And then finally, I'll put up 1 more. And let's see, that's 4. Notice that I have 4 purple rectangles. If I wanted to, I could shade each of them in with purple. And notice that each of those now is the same size because they're each 2 squares. And all 4 of them together completely cover the white rectangle. And so I'm going to now use my text editor, or I'll use, actually, let me use my equation editor. I'll use that to label this guy, and I'll say he's equal to 1/4. But I have to have some reasoning, and my reasoning is because 4 equal pieces make a whole. Or I'd rather say make 1 whole. Okay, so let's see. I'll turn that yellow so it's easier to see. I'll move it over like this, and then I'm done. So now I've labeled this rectangle. It's equal to 1/4 because notice there's 4 of those equal pieces in 1 whole. I'm going to delete the purple rectangles now so that I just leave my white rectangle, which is 1 whole. But what we've already done here is we've determined what the value of that purple rectangle is. It's 1/4. Plus we've given the reasoning. And the reasoning is the sentence because 4 equal pieces make 1 whole. That's why it's 1/4. Finally, I'm going to use the green rubber band, stretch it, and it just stretches 1. Think about it. What value will this have? You could make green rectangle or green squares and put them up there on the whole and compare it and see how much they're worth or how many of those green ones does it take to cover. Well, I can figure that out without even doing that because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here, let me. So I'm going to say that that's equal to 1/8 because 8 equal pieces make a whole. Now, let me make that smaller and let me make it yellow. And then let me place it here so it's easy to read. There. So you have to move your comments around a little bit and kind of fit them on the board. So what I've said was there's, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of these squares would make up a whole. So that square is worth 1/8, or it has a value of 1/8. And that's it. I'm done for now. What I've done is I've done several key things. First, I've determined what one whole is. It's equal to this 8 square rectangle right there. And I colored it white and I labeled it as one whole. Second, I labeled this value as 1/2 because 2 equal pieces make up a whole. And I put my reasoning right there. And then I did the same for 1/4 and 1/8. The key here is that you use the text editor to put your reasoning in so that you can explain why, or if you could prove to me why that's 1/8. That's what your reasoning does. When you're done with this whole thing, you're going to turn it in. And here's how you turn it in. Notice along this tool ribbon down here, I have this box right here that's called share. I'm going to click on the share and it gives me an 8-digit code. In this case, it gives me 3YUM-TPLU. That's the share code. All right, once you have that share code, and write that down, you go back to your assignment and notice how it says here, fractions, part of a whole. That's a Google Doc. You open that up and you're going to enter your name on this Google Doc. I'm going to put in my name, but you're not going to write Mr. Town. You're going to write your name, whatever that is. And then you're going to put in your share code. My share code, if you remember, was 3UM-TPLU. Make sure you get your share code right. And then you're going to now submit that as your assignment completion. Once you have your name and your share code, you can upload it to Google Classroom, and that's your assignment completed. All right, that's all you have to do. It's actually pretty easy. So have fun. Thanks for listening.